Hello, and welcome to episode 90 of Nintendo Therapy, a show about the latest Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all of the things Nintendo. My name is Kevin, and joining me this week in the world of Nintendo to talk about beat 'em ups, Street Fighter clones, and alarm clocks is Mike from ATB, Attack the Backlog, Attack the Backlog, sorry.
That's right.
And Harrison.
Hey guys, welcome back. And at the very top, I just want to say, because we sometimes go long and run out of time at the end. I hope everyone's doing well. My family in particular, we were out of our house for 5 days. We had to evacuate on Sunday. Even where we live halfway across the world from America, things have been rough here. And knowing people back home, having students back home in the situation and everything. I just want to say I hope everyone's doing well. If you're listening to this, most people, even if you aren't in it, you at least know someone who is in it. So it's just been a very emotional time overall. I want to say that at the very beginning. I appreciate being here, and I look forward to talking some games today. That's it. That's all.
Definitely worth mentioning, Harrison. Good point. And if you're out there and you need a distraction from any of the things that are happening in the world, and you're all caught up on Nintendo Therapy, there's Attack the Backlog on YouTube. Mike, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about the channel?
Oh, yeah. So thanks, guys. I do a Nintendo-based YouTube channel, I guess. And we basically do streams. I've been, the last few months, concentrated on news content as well. So I try and do about a news video every day, Monday to Friday. And then we're just starting up our podcast. So it's a very much Nintendo-orientated channel. Yeah, we have a good time. It's a bit hectic. I try and kind of mix up all types of games, do a lot of multiplayer stuff. So it's kind of a nice place for, anyone who loves Nintendo to come and hang out, basically.
Yeah, that's always what I'm looking for. That's kind of why we started this podcast, is I was so hungry for Nintendo content out there. And I've always been of the belief that, if what you want isn't out there, do it. And not that there was no Nintendo content, but there wasn't enough for me. And now it seems like there's tons of stuff. So I don't know if I just discovered it through doing the podcast or what, but I'm like, I love every time I discover a new one. I'm just like, okay, another thing that I can pay attention to.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the cool thing about online as well. There's so many channels to check out, and everyone's got a different voice and a different way of doing things, a different way of covering news and looking at games differently. So I find that, especially with Nintendo, Nintendo fans, I think we're pretty much a welcoming bunch. And I think people kind of tend to come together over Nintendo. So it's definitely an awesome place to be right now, especially now with all the upcoming Switch 2 news and rumors and console hopefully on the horizon. So it's a very exciting time, especially.
Just hanging over our heads at all times.
Every day there's another rumor.
What have you been playing lately?
Oh, God. Luckily, I've got my Switch open at the moment. I've been playing a bunch of games for reviews recently. Most recently, I've been playing Kill Knight, which is how would you call it? A isometric roguelike game that's kind of a mixture of Hades and Doom. So it's, you're playing like this medieval looking knight, and you're just kind of going through swarms of enemies, like blood gushing out all over the place and building attacks. And it's like one of those games where you have like one life, and you die and you start all over again. And there's like leaderboards, and as you kind of progress and get more points, you can unlock new weapons. But it's brutal. I mean, I typically have been making runs that last about 5 minutes and die. It's just so brutal. I think I downloaded. It's called Kill Knight. It's
Kill Knight. Sorry.
Honestly, it's an awesome game, but it's really damn hard. But it's like one of those where the rounds go so quick that it's kind of one of those like one more go. And so I think the day I downloaded it, because I was playing it pretty quick, I happened to get I think I was like 65th in the leaderboards. So I was like, oh my God, I'm pretty good at this game. I didn't play it for like 2 days and I dropped down to like 600 and something. Like, like I think more and more people are playing it now, but it's definitely a game I recommend if you do like that kind of Hades roguelike type of game. Other than that, I've been playing a bit more in preparation for this, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, of course. And what else have I been playing? I've finished a playthrough of Pizza Tower, which at the moment is my game of the year. That game, if you haven't played it, is incredible. I don't know how you describe it. It's a 2D platformer, really zany. Apparently, I think it was inspired by like WarioWare.
Yeah, that's the one
Wario
I
Land.
confused for something else last week. I think it was, but yeah,
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It was part of the. It was part of in the presentation.
It was. It was.
It was called.
Yeah, it was. I didn't realize what a massive fanfare it's got because I downloaded it more or less as soon as it was available in the eShop, and the amount of people who come to my channel. Oh, honestly, the people who like it love it, and I can see why. It's. I don't know. I haven't played a game this original in a long time. Like every level had a new mechanic, a new idea, a new art style. The boss fights are incredible. The music's insane. The characters are out of this world. Honestly, it blew me away. It's for sure my game of the year. I thought maybe Echoes of Wisdom might steal it, but so far I still have to go with Pizza Tower for my game of the year for sure.
It kind of reminds me that the visuals remind me of like 90s Nicktoons as well.
Yeah, everyone says that, and it's so true. It's got that kind of.
I think it's the color palette.
It is, and it's not like perfect. It's kind of rough around the edges, and yeah, it is. It is that kind of Nickelodeon or like TNT. That kind of Red and Stimpy type art style. Mm-hmm. It's really cool. It's got a really cool sense of humor as well. Honestly, I say to everyone, if you haven't played this game, you gotta play it if you've got a Switch. It's really awesome. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been playing. Bunch of stuff.
I finished this week the first new Super Mario Brothers on my 3DS, and
nice.
This week it just made me want to tell Mario Wonder fans to calm down a little bit. I've seen so much like revisionist history trying to like erase the new Super Mario Brothers franchise, and saying things like Mario Wonder feels like the first true sequel to Super Mario World. And I think that's so crazy whenever I see that. Like, you can't ignore this step that the franchise made. Whether you think Wonder is better or not is another conversation, but like they almost want to like erase it from history, Yeah. I hear them say, oh, it's like a sequel to Super Mario World. And I don't know, the new Super Mario Brothers, I had never played the first one before. I started with the one on Wii, and then I played the Wii, basically the console versions. And going back to that first one, it just really drives home how much that series innovated, even if it did get stuck in a rut and start repeating things with the subsequent installments. But yeah, I was just like, yeah, man, do not ignore this step that 2D Mario made. If you're out there trying to say where the franchise went, you could maybe ignore the other new Super Mario Brothers games, but don't ignore the franchise as a whole.
Although I've got a soft spot for new, what's it called? What's it, Super Luigi?
Yeah,
on the.
I've got a soft spot for any time they do something with Luigi.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. There should be.
You always got to root for the underdog there, or the
100%, 100%.
And I was also thinking last week we talked on this show about when retro gaming really started to become a thing, and retro collecting. And something I completely forgot to bring up that I wanted to bring up now is, do either of you remember screwattack.com? So it was a website that started around the time of the Angry Video Game Nerd, and then eventually they kind of incorporated Angry Video Game Nerd into their website for a little bit. He was like one of their people. And I don't know, they used to have this thing called the Video Game Vault, where they would make these reviews of retro games, and that was, along with Angry Video Game Nerd, one of the first times I saw like something big really drawing attention to Super Nintendo or NES era video games and talking about why they are still worth playing today. So yeah, definitely something I forgot to bring up, but the Video Game Vault that they had on screwattack.com back in like 2003, 2004, whenever that was, That's definitely about the start of when I started to see it.
Yeah, I couldn't even remember if that was like what we talked about last week or what we talked about when we went off air last week. I couldn't even remember.
I think it was
But
in the
but
show.
Screw Attack, it was in the show.
Okay.
Screw Attack, there was so there's a lot of lore slash drama that I don't know about. It's like it's in the category of don't know, not going to look up for me, you know.
Yeah.
But I will give background that that
I think
Screw
Stuttering
Attack,
Craig from it has a YouTube channel now or something, and
right,
I don't know.
he
Yeah.
does. So Screw Attack got bought by Rooster Teeth in 2010, or maybe it was 2009, 2010, and that became Death Battle. And Death Battle is a huge. I mean, it has over 6 million, but I don't know how much of that has grown. So it might be a lot of old, non-existent subscribers. Uh, but Rooster Teeth, I think, went completely defunct last year because they had a game publishing company that went defunct like this year, last year. I think the company is just going away. So I remember about a year ago hearing that Craig was going to try and buy back Screw Attack, which is no longer Screw Attack. Like if you
I
type in
would
screwattack.com, it just goes to the Death Battle YouTube page.
believe it because the
So
only time I've
yeah.
seen him recently was doing a YouTube video basically like reminiscing on the good old days of Screw Attack. So, and that's what reminded me to bring it up. So, so yeah,
it's
it makes sense.
it's kind of unfortunate that, and like I another reason why I stay away from the drama and everything of Cinemassacre and Screw Attack. One, I don't have time. Two, it's still it's still like really enjoyable to me. Like they have an editing style that is so like nostalgic that when I watch it, I just feel like I'm at home and it's like a nice fall day, like back in the day. Uh, but it's unfortunate that a lot of it is just lost media unless someone has it preserved somewhere because it's far enough in the Wayback Machine that a lot of these reviews and articles or like blog posts, YouTube videos are just gone. So yeah, it's too bad.
Well, yeah, for sure. Um, s- so I think we all kind of want to talk about the biggest item in Nintendo news this week. So let's just get right into that. Um, which is the Nintendo hardware fake out.
Well,
um, yeah, where they did not announce anything for the Switch 2. They announced an alarm clock called Alarmo. Um, And I just had a lot of quick thoughts. My first was that the trailer for this thing was initially so annoying that I almost couldn't even finish the trailer.
mm,
It's so annoying.
Like, yeah, listening to the alarm, and I get that that's the point of an alarm clock, so it's kind of hard to show that feature. But yeah, I had that thought, and then my first, I think, like the thought I had right away was like, man, scalpers are going to be selling these things for like 300,
yeah,
400 bucks, aren't they? Like,
It's already
you,
sold out.
yeah,
yeah, it
exactly,
is crazy.
But
exactly. It's almost like Nintendo supports scalpers
Yeah,
sometimes. Like
yeah,
the, the,
they do everything in a limited run.
yeah.
the
Which
number
is
one, yeah,
no,
the,
sorry, mate,
the
go for
number
it.
one thing that just bothered me about this this trailer, which was, I should say, like the most typical Nintendo trailer for the most Nintendo-y Nintendo product I have ever seen in my 34 years of life. I have never seen a more Nintendo product ever. But like, why don't you just put some kids in the commercial? Because adults. This is not a product for adults. This is not a product for adults. Like no adult. I'm going to generalize. No adult wants to hear music or something that they enjoy as they wake up. Because think about it. Does anyone want to listen to whatever alarm they have later on in the day?
Well,
Like it is
I'm gonna slightly
negative
disagree
conditioning.
there, where I don't know if this is even aimed at kids. I think this is solely aimed at Nintendo diehards who are like maybe made up of adults or just like like I don't know. It is weird to think of who would like this thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you are most adults, I would say like this is not something that you would actually use. Would you collect it for $100? Sure, for $100, sure. I mean, it is a lot of money, but a lot of collectors can justify $100. I get it, but the functionality of it, that's what I'm saying. The whole commercial made me mad because it's 10:30, it's bright outside, the sun's shining through the window.
Stop
They get up,
smiling.
they stretch. Oh, it's time to take on the day. No one lives like this. That's what I'm trying. That's just what I'm trying to say. Show me a Nintendo commercial. It's 5:30 in the morning. Bowser's
These
going
Nintendo
off.
customers need to get a job.
It's pitch black outside. First of all, if you work until late at night and you wake up in the afternoon, I don't care. But
That's
show me one of like it. Show me one of the alarms going off and it's dark inside the room. It's snowing outside. Your wife is like, Bowser, why is this? Why is this Bowser? God, what's going on?
you know,
Give me that.
it's kind of funny. You just made me like connect these two things because yeah, if you watch the trailer, it kind of indicates that this is $100 clock for people who don't have jobs. Like it's $100 clock for people who don't have to get up and go to work.
It just made me think, when you said like they should have showed it like in someone's really dark room, and it made me think of that. Was it Tears of the Kingdom advert with the really depressing guy who would go into work and coming back like really miserable, and he barely smiled when he's playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
he would be a perfect candidate for this advert, I think.
The the thing that I've been thinking ever since I finished the trailer is couldn't they have just made this a feature for the docked Switch 2? Like instead of having the dock on the Switch 2 be a solid wall in front of the screen, make it like a little window. And because I'm assuming they have that there to prevent the screen from being damaged while it's docked. So put a little window there and let the window do these things. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or you could
make
put
the
an
dock
LCD screen on the dock.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, the Switch has those like $2 display clocks or games or whatever you're going to call them already. So I think
Oh, I
that
didn't know
was
that.
yeah. I think that was like the most maybe the most frustrating. Perhaps it's like okay like if you legit wanted a alarm clock like that could easily be a function of any kind of gaming. You could easily figure it out. Um, so I wanted to play a game. I'll go first, so I'll give you guys to think about it. Um, which Nintendo sound would get you out of bed? And I'll go first, so you guys can think. I'm gonna say "Final Hours" from Majora's Mask. Like when the moon
Oh
is
yeah.
crashing,
I
and you
definitely
have
know
to
mine.
you have to reset the game. You have to reset the whole game. I think that would there's an obvious one I have in my mind, but I've seen it on Twitter too much, so I'm not gonna say it. Kevin, what's
Oh,
yours?
That's probably mine because it seemed obvious when you said it, and I haven't seen this on Twitter. But I'm gonna go with the music from Breath of the Wild when you're near one of the yeah what are they? I'm blanking on the name of them. The
Guardians.
rope. Yeah, the Guardians. When you're running from a Guardian, that's stress music. It's just like perfect at getting you stressed out. Like the perfect sound engineering there.
It's so stressful. And like when the guy that aimed on you and you just gotta run. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think. I don't know about music, but I know the sound of drowning Pikmin would,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
would for sure make me jump out of bed. Or maybe just any of the voiceover from Mario Sunshine on the GameCube. That the voiceovers I found so damn annoying that would get me out of bed for sure.
I like that idea.
Yeah,
I
the
like
drowning
that idea.
Pikmin.
But what if okay, you got an LCD screen, you gotta get out of bed because those Pikmin are drowning. Like you gotta get out of
You
bed.
get up too late, you just see the little ghosts floating through the LCD screen.
Yeah.
Oh, poor guys.
What about Baby Mario? And then if you don't get
God.
Oh my
from
god.
Oh,
Yoshi's
God.
Island, and then if you
Yeah.
don't get there in
No.
time, the Shy Guys take him away.
You see that's an alarm. That's an alarm.
Yeah.
That's a
That's a real
sound that I
alarm for
don't
some
Yeah.
people, though. Like some people already have the crying baby alarm. It's called a baby.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, how about them advertising the fact that like you don't have to touch the alarm? How about that? Like because
Yeah.
you're if you're someone who has a Nintendo alarm clock, you're busy. You don't got time to and you don't got time to touch the alarm clock. You gotta go because you got things to do. You have a Nintendo alarm clock that you bought, so you got to go pay for that. But also, how about the fact that um they kind of say like, yeah, like you don't have to touch it, but it'll get like progressively like more and more intense if you don't wake up.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna. I would never use. I understand this might be a collector item. I would never use a machine that is going to dictate what I'm doing. Like no. I can turn you off. I'm pretty sure.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure there's an off button somewhere. So I thought that was kind of a funny part of it. Like, are there adults that are going to like listen to their machines like that?
Like, I mean,
Oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
go on.
I was just going to say another interesting piece of it is the fact that it's specifically targeting people who live alone because there's a part on the Nintendo website I have here where it says the motion sensor is designed to be at its most responsive and function best. Sorry, when Alarmo is used by one person. But I'm sure, and it also goes on to say, I'm sure there are many families who sleep together in the same room, but because of the sensor, even if one person gets out of bed, the sensor may detect the other family members still in bed and continue to play the alarm.
I have a good slogan as you were saying that because you made me think of it. Okay, here we go. Okay, Nintendo Alarmo, made for one person because if you bought this, you're probably alone. How about that? I don't know. but what if you have like but what if you're like but what if you're like me and you have a partner and you have 4 dogs in your bed? Then what happens? The alarm goes off, everyone's just going every direction. And
That's the
probably
thing.
barking and yelling.
There's just so much wrong with it. I mean, like I'll tell you something. So when I was watching the trailer, and I thought, God, there's not even that many scenarios on there. There's not that many, sound effects from the get go. I know you can download a bunch later on through connecting it online, and so and then it's the whole annoying thing of getting sound effects as you're moving in bed and it getting more intense. And then I saw what you mentioned, the fact that it only really works with one person. So like knowing all of this, I was like, who's going to buy this? And on top of that, it's $100. And then I bought one a few hours ago. I don't know why. Like my brother got one. I was like, oh man, I'll just buy one. And I told my wife about it. She's like, but
Well,
it
like
doesn't
we
even.
said, they're already sold out, so they
Yeah,
found their market.
yeah. Well, exactly. I got it on the UK. Luckily, they had I say luckily, it cost me $100. But I told my wife about it. She said, but it doesn't even work. I said no, but the day I sleep in the spare room, at least I'll be able to use it then. But it's like I don't even know why I bought it. And I even looked, can I return it? I can on the Nintendo Online. I can even see an option to return it. I was like, maybe I'll sell it one day. Maybe I'll use it for a giveaway or something. But I'm like laughing at myself. The fact that I still, after everything I disliked about it, I still ended up buying it. And I was like, oh, okay, it's just done now. So I'll let you know in a couple of days when I get it what I think about it. But yeah, it's interesting, anyways.
But it tells time like the Dickens, I'll tell you.
I wish they just released a Nintendo wristwatch. That would have been a lot cooler.
You know what? You're the first person I heard say that, but you're right. I would buy that over an Apple Watch. Like, come on, Nintendo.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
You could put like different like game clocks in there as the watch, which I'm sure the clock does. But like you could have like the clock from Majora's Mask, or you could have like, that would be awesome.
You could do so much more messaging. You could probably connect it to your Switch somehow and do stuff on it that way. Like it'd be so much cooler. And it could still have, because the one cool thing actually I did like about the Alarmo was the part of it that shows you your body movement through the night. So it shows you how much you move through the night. Oh, that's pretty neat. But you could do that on a wristwatch anyway. So yeah, that would have been a lot better.
Legit question. Apple sure carries a lot of Nintendo stuff on their platform. Do you think Apple and Nintendo talk about those kind of things? Like Apple, we have a watch, and Nintendo, you should not have a watch. You should have an alarm clock. I'm just kidding. But like there's clearly a partnership there, and if we're talking about it, it's something Nintendo has talked about, of course, like a Nintendo Watch. Of course, they talked about all different things before. So I wonder if there's any connection there of like why there's no Nintendo phone, Nintendo Watch, Nintendo TV.
Phone. Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah,
that would have been awesome.
Well, I remember people talking about that a lot when there was that. What was that? There was a phone that was like marketed as like the first ever hybrid game console phone, and it was terrible, and I can't think of what it was right now. But
I remember that. Yeah. It's funny. I mean, there's so many. When you look online, there's Nintendo patents so many things. And actually, interestingly enough, the I don't know if you guys remember the patent for the Alarmo, which leaked. I don't know when was it, 2-3 weeks ago, as this wireless motion sensing thing with a USB-C connector, and a lot of people thought it was to do with the Switch 2, and it's only when the Alarmo was revealed that actually you could see that was the patent for this. But it would be interesting to go back and research to see if Nintendo has ever patented anything like a Nintendo type phone or wristwatch or something like that. 'Cause I bet they have. I bet they have.
The N-Gage, by the way, if anyone was wondering,
that's it.
what it was. Yeah,
that's it.
And Harrison, I like that you put this picture in our notes of the old Nickelodeon alarm clock, because that was definitely an alarm clock I saw all the time on Nickelodeon and like desperately wanted, had no idea how to get, because I don't think they sold them in stores. So I think you had to order them like off the Nickelodeon website or something back when ordering things off the internet was like a new idea. So
I have no idea. I had it. I had it. A lot of my friends had it. I don't know if we ordered it or we got it from KB Toys. I probably got it for Christmas one year. And it's probably something that's like I don't know if it's an age thing since I'm just a few years younger than you. But yeah, like all my friends had the same alarm clock, and the sounds are just engraved in my mind. Um, and I ended up just hating it, like after a while, because I love Nickelodeon. I was a Nickelodeon kid, but like hearing it in the morning, I was like, I didn't want to associate. I thought associating Nickelodeon with morning would make morning good, but it just made Nickelodeon bad. You know?
Well,
Uh,
one more topic real quick before we get to our spotlight, is the other major thing that kind of happened this week is just today they dropped a new trailer for Mario and Luigi Brothership.
Mm.
And I've got to say, as much as I'm enjoying Echoes of Wisdom, everything I see about Mario and Luigi Brothership makes me look like it has potential to be my pick for game of the year. Like potential being the key word, but like all the elements look like they're there. Like the art style, just gorgeous. Nintendo has like a normal base level of quality that's like one notch above the rest, and this seems like it's a notch above that, in my opinion. I'm just in love with how this game looks for starters. How's everybody else feeling about it?
there's lots of returning characters that I don't know about, or there's
Mm.
a couple. Do you? I mean, I watched the trailer. It like I watched it when I was going to sleep. I'm not familiar with this franchise, but who are the returning characters? Do you know?
Um, like secondary characters, because I didn't pick up
Right.
on any, but I've only played like two of the Mario and Luigi games, so I wasn't picking up on anyone but the new like plug outlet type of people. Who am I missing?
I haven't played. I haven't played any of the games. We are Nintendo fans, not Nintendo experts. uh, uh, it, I don't know, but I saw on Twitter that people are like, oh, this is already game of the year because it's got so and so. It's like one of the secondary characters, or are they like sprites or charms? I don't know. I don't play these games. It looks nice. That's my
I'm, try-
take.
I'm trying to find the
You want my
trailer
casual
now.
take? It looks nice.
It's interesting to me that Nintendo seems to have two different personalities for Luigi. Because like the Luigi we see in the Mario RPG games is not the terrified Luigi we
I was gonna
see
say,
in
yeah,
Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like in Mario and Luigi games, he's like Goofy to Mario's Mickey Mouse.
yeah.
And yeah, he's definitely not like scared of his shadow. And just like a paranoid schizophrenic like he seems like in the Luigi's Mansion games.
Yeah.
Um the bros attacks in battle all look incredible too to me. Like, I
Great.
don't know. I'm at maximum hype for this game right now. Like, I never thought I'd be more hyped for a title that wasn't Zelda a year that a
Mm.
Zelda came out, but I have to say I am. And even before I had Echoes of Wisdom and was playing it, I was already more excited for Brothership. So, good job, Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, I played. I think I've only played one, and I can't remember what it was even on. I want to say it was the DS or 3DS, and I thought it was okay. And I wasn't like that crazy, like excited for this one, even after the first couple of trailers. But I watched the overview trailer today earlier, and that got me actually quite a lot more hyped for it. I like just even like the, what would you call it, like the elemental puzzle solving of how to, like when you can turn into a ball together, to go into a pipe, and just the way you maneuver through the worlds is quite cool. But it was the battle system actually, because the battle system I was never that crazy about back in the day. I always thought it was a little too simplistic, but I actually like what they've done with the battle, the combat in this game, and it's got a little bit more variation, more rhythm to it, more options, and that actually looks really, really cool. And even the kind of mini games that you play between each other, the two brothers, that looks really cool. So, like, yeah, actually, I would say my anticipation rating was probably like a 6 for it, and it's probably like an 8 now after the overview trailer. I think they did a really, really cool job with the overview trailer. I can kind of see some of the characters that you're talking about as well. I'm watching the trailer right now as I'm saying this, and there are some characters I don't really recognize either, which is crazy to me. I feel like I'd recognize every character in the Mario world, but there is a few that I don't really recognize Also, they seem to be returning. But yeah, the art style I'm not like that crazy about. I don't know what it is about it. I know it's not cel shaded, but I don't know. It's okay. It's fine. It's like crisp, right? It's neat and it's crisp and it's colorful.
Cup of tea. It might not be
Yeah,
yours.
I like it.
But
Yeah, I definitely like it.
it is nice.
Yeah,
But no, I'm looking forward to it a lot more than I was a month ago for sure. I probably will pick it up. I reckon. But yeah, it's nice.
Going to try and play this game as soon as possible, and then maybe try to get into this franchise. Yeah.
well,
Kevin,
the
this
first
game,
one, Superstar Saga, is on the
Superstar.
service. Yeah.
That's
right,
the one I played. Yeah.
right. So it's like a good. It's just another good excuse. So this one comes out November 7th,
7th.
and
Yeah.
I haven't brought it up on here. Kevin, 3 days before that, November 4th, is the console Stardew update. So, I mean, November is just going to be a great month for the Switch. Can't believe it. Again, just can't believe like it seems like every month we've had something to kind of look forward to. Like I won't be playing Mario Party Jamboree, but I see a lot of hype about it.
Oh, yeah.
So there's definitely things that are happening. Can I do one quick speculation before we do our spotlight?
Absolutely. Bring it on.
So Nintendo, we're recording Thursday evening in America. Nintendo, I want to say yesterday. I'm getting my times mixed up because I'm not in that part of the world. Nintendo on Wednesday said they're going to accept up to 10,000 applications, people who are 18 plus, certain regions with Nintendo Switch Online expansion.
Yeah.
The $50 one. The $50 one. They're going to do applications for a play test, which apparently, like, they said they're going to accept applications until October 15th. The application process was done, I think, in the first minute.
Yeah, it was.
Because everyone that I saw everyone that I knew that applied at 11 o'clock, like at that same moment, and none of them got it. So I want to know if you guys had any predictions on it. I definitely have mine. I'll save it. What are your predictions on what this could be?
Shall I go?
Yeah,
go
because
ahead.
I honestly, I don't think I know enough about playtesting and stuff like that to even have a guess.
So I applied for it and I somehow got it. I got granted into it. And I was like there before, and I was at work, and I had my laptop open and I had it on the page about an hour before, and I was just waiting for. I think in the UK it was 4 p.m. So as soon as it hit 4 p.m., I refreshed the page and I panicked because it took about 6 or 7 seconds for the page to refresh. And having spoken to someone else a few hours ago, they had done the same thing and it took about the same time to refresh, and they applied and didn't get it. So I had the same thing where it took me about 7 seconds to refresh the page. I quickly slammed the application button, and I came up with granted. So then I'm supposed to go back. I think it's on the 21st. You're supposed to go back and you get a code. Funnily enough, they've just dropped some information that basically says that you have to, as you agree this, you've basically signed an NDA. So when you're doing the play test, you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to tell anyone what you're play testing, basically. So that no one knows at the moment anyways what it is. But in terms of prediction, I know a lot of people are going straight to the fact thinking it's something GameCube related, maybe. And my mind did go that way also, and I did think maybe it's something to do with GameCube, and maybe it's something like, I don't know, F-Zero GX Online. something like that maybe, or like a wave race online. But then the one thing in their original tweet that kind of sends me away from that is that they describe it as, I think they describe it as an online feature, not necessarily a game. I mean, the feature could be the GameCube application, right, on the NSO. So it could be that, but I don't know. There's something about the word feature that's kind of throwing me off. So I don't know if it could be something like, I don't know, the reintroduction of like Miiverse, maybe like Miiverse 2.0 or something like that, maybe. But then the playtest time, I think, goes over. It's at least a few days. I think. I don't have the dates with me now. I should have got it, but it's a few days. I can't imagine if it was something like a Miiverse or just a feature that they would need to test it that long. So it does seem that it's, a game related thing. And I think someone saw that the application or the thing you download is something like 2.2 gigs. So it could easily be a GameCube game, I guess, but that's kind of where my predictions lie at the moment.
Yeah, you brought up a lot that I didn't think about. Miiverse is not something that I had thought about. What else do you say? Yeah, I just don't know. My predictions were either it's a DLC or maybe multiple DLCs, because we sure have a lot of them. I mean, and Nintendo could start putting DLC on the online service. So it could be old, could be new. And even if you were a playtester that didn't necessarily have that game, I don't see why you couldn't test it.
Yeah, for sure.
My other prediction was not GameCube, because that seems too good to be true.
It does seem too good. Yeah, that's the problem.
It just seems too good to be true
Yeah.
for them to be like play testing to the public. But I thought, like, what if they're going to try and test what dual screen technology could look like on a single screen? Assuming that the Switch 2 rumors are true and it is going to be an upgrade single screen, and we know that we're looking at DS and 3DS games on the next console. So
For sure.
that was my question. Kevin, what do you think? What do you like?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this playtesting announcement could be about.
All right, I'm bringing it to a close. Well, it was fun to talk about. Everyone was talking about it yesterday. I just wanted to speculate real quick. Let's do our spotlight games.
Yeah, this week we paired two together and we're shining the spotlight on Tough Enough and Rival Turf. Two games that came from the same developer. They were both developed by Jellico. And I mistakenly paired them together because I thought they were both side-scrolling beat-em-ups, but one of them is a fighting game, so that was my bad. I was wrong. But we'll start with Rival Turf because it came out first. Rival Turf came out in March of 1992 in Japan and April of 92 in North America, which was, we usually didn't get games just a month later, so that's kind of a quick turnaround. And that's the one that's a beat 'em up. The main menu of this game it reminded me of like games like Skate or Die, or like the stuff that's just like super 90s. Especially that logo, that Rival Turf logo. And my first thought after booting it up, getting ready to play, picking my character, it is, I cannot remember the last time I saw a Super Nintendo game that doesn't use the X and A button. Like, it only uses the two buttons. That's so weird for a beat 'em up. There's no kick. There's just jump and punch. That's it.
In which one? In Rival Turf, did you say?
Rival Turf, yeah.
That's the side scroller, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. I think I had. I would just say I think I had more criticisms about this game, like just more critiques as I was playing it more and more, than I did things that stood out that I actually enjoyed. I mean, does the gameplay fall flat for you, or is there anything that stands out that you enjoy in particular about this game?
It was kind of generic. There was nothing bad about it. The thing that stood out the most, I already said, was the fact that it only uses the 2 buttons for a Super Nintendo game that's 3 years into the console's life. That's a little weird. Like the R button, the L and R buttons aren't even really used. The R button's like a little dash move, but they're barely used. It's so weird that they didn't program more moves in a game where you're just hitting people. Like you'd think you want different combinations. They don't even have like a super move like most of these games have that like eliminates all the enemies on screen. I don't know. It's a very bare bones side-scrolling beat 'em up, which I've already spoken about how I'm terrible at these types of games. So I made it to the jungle level. That's about as far as I made it.
That's same thing. Yeah, same here. Yeah.
It can't be a coincidence that, by the way, the character named Reggie is the one who throws dynamite. That can't be a coincidence.
Yeah. And Uzi Nelson for a police officer, I thought was just kind of a crazy nickname, name to give a policeman character.
And there's also Arnold in there.
I was gonna say Arnold, yeah.
Definitely a take on Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I mean, besides the soundtrack being like really, really good, that's the only part that I really enjoyed. I mean, there's 2 characters, and I think this could have benefited from having a third or having an unlockable third character that you could have be incentivized to play towards, because if you're comparing it to like Final Fight, which a lot of people think is like the #1 beat 'em up on this system, it has 3 playable characters. You know, Turtles in Time, of course, has 4. But if you're comparing it to just other games, even the games that follow Rival Turf, like Peacekeepers, 2 characters without anything else that you can unlock is, I just don't think it's enough to make it stand out to these other iconic Double Dragon, Battletoads, whatever other beat 'em ups I'm not thinking of during this generation. And also, there's no cutscenes in the American versions. I'm assuming because in the Japanese cutscene they show guns. They show a gun, and they also removed words like death when you die in the game. So I'm assuming they took it out for that reason. But I'm a fan of cutscenes, and I think it would set up the story arc a little bit more, considering I think this story is pretty bland, and when you take it out, it's kind of non-existent. So, overall, like I think more and more I played it, I think more and more I was like, I don't like it that much.
Yeah, I was kind of indifferent to it, but I'm you know, I've said it 100 times. I'm bad at these types of games. How did you view this game, I guess, as you were playing it, Mike?
Oh, you know, I'm literally playing it now as I'm listening to you, both of you. It was like, I don't know if it's because I thought it was going to be so bad that I actually kind of enjoyed it. Like, only if anything, because like it just took me to the 90s. Like, this game is so 90s. It's unbelievable. You know, like the gameplay is like everything you're saying is right. Like the gameplay is pretty generic. It's quite repetitive. There's not that many moves. I think it's just almost like the bad things about it that made me smile. Like, it's so ridiculous, you know, like you're fighting on a moving bus and there's like tough guys just sitting down watching you. And next thing you know, you're like at some Olympic stadium and it's just like bad guys sitting down on a bench, you know, and it's just really ridiculous. And you got like 2 moves, you're right. You got like a kick and a punch. And there's even sometimes where you got like a little sweep leg kind of movement, but it seems like they only let you use it X amount of times before like you run out of it or something. And so like I thought it was okay. And then I remember going to the second level. I can't remember what the second level is, but I remember all of a sudden the difficulty spike. It just goes insane. Like the first character you see starts throwing dynamite at you. I was like, what's going on in this game? And then there's so many yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, one guy will suplex you and you lose 75% of your health. It's like goes insane. But it's like all the kind of stupid things about it made me smile. Like there's so many rip-offs from other games, you know, like you mentioned them, you know, Double Dragon and stuff like that, Streets of Rage. But I like all the kind of, I don't know, the typical things you'd see in those games that made me smile. And this, like you see a knife on the floor, you know, and you can never quite line it up properly. So you find a knife and you get excited and you throw it and you miss everyone on the screen.
Yeah.
And like that happened to me almost every single time I came across a knife or like a brick or something, you know. And even the rip-offs. So there's like characters that are blatantly ripped off from like Street Fighter. There's a guy, I think it's a boss who's so like Vega from Street Fighter. It's ridiculous. You know, yeah, you have like your Arnie lookalike bodybuilders and all kinds of stuff like this. They have like ridiculous names. There's one guy who's like dressed up like in Persian clothing and he's called Genie. And it's like it's just so ridiculous. So like in that sense, it kind of made me smile, you know, I didn't mind it, but like it is a pretty bad game. But
yeah, he looks like the genie from the Lost Sinbad movie.
Exactly. And I was like, what the hell is going on in this game? And like it is bad, yeah. Like sometimes you know, like you're getting hit, and you don't know how, and like I thought, well, they gave me so many lives and so many continues, so I just kept playing. I think I ended up getting to I got to like stage 5 or 6. Like I really went for it. But you said before, you know, they should have more than 2 characters because I only really liked using Flack. I can't remember the other guy's name, but he was terrible. He was like a Zangief, like big and slow and just like pretty bad all round. So that yeah, they could have done that. They could have given some kind of variation, some different moves, you know, just to, because it's true when you compare it to like Battletoads or any of those games, the animations are so much more crisper, you know, and advanced. And there's more moves, and you know, the music's a lot better. Like the music here, I can't even really remember it.
Yeah, Battletoads has like a distinct style and flair, whereas this is just like we keep using the word generic, but it's just perfectly what describes it.
It is.
There's an interesting element to the game too, which I'm sure almost nobody knows about, where when you get to the high score screen, if you enter this specific, I don't think this means anything. It's CHRCONF. I don't know. If you enter that as your name, it'll take you to a configure screen, and you can name all of the enemies in the game. You can like rename them.
Oh, that is pretty neat. That is pretty neat.
It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they thought that as a cheat, but like
I don't know if it saves it either. So if it probably doesn't. So I don't know. I mean, now that you have Switch Online, you can save it. But
yeah, I mean, those were the days before we had like, you know, GoldenEye big head mode type of cheats. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of cheats, because I know we're going to get into Tough Enough. Did you see the sign inside the password system for Tough Enough says, "Here lies the loser." Like on the very top of the password system, it says, "Here lies the loser." So I wanted to know, are either of you a fan of when games mock their consumers? Like when games mock the gamers? Because,
you and your friends are dead like that. Like,
yeah, but I think that's pretty funny. Like
it,
if you're gonna use if I'm gonna use passwords, I don't mind if the game is like, oh, you're gonna use passwords, okay. I just think that's kind of funny.
No, yeah, I like when they, you know, it's like a little tongue in cheek, and they just sort of, you know, a little playful ribbing.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be allowed now. I'm sorry. Keep going.
I was just gonna say I don't have much to say about Tough Enough because I was even worse at that game. Like I don't know if the difficulty level is just super high or what, but I could only win a single fight. I used every single character I went through. It's a hard fighting game, and
Yeah, it
maybe
is.
because they only have 4 characters, they have to dial up the difficulty. I don't know. Um, but yeah, it's a very hard game. And the only other real note I had to say about it, because I didn't get anywhere, is that the characters look like they're floating. It's like they're not quite grounded quite right in the artwork. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I didn't like it too much at all. Like I was equally bad. I was awful at the game. I struggled to win one fight, and even then, I won't lie to you. I went back and put it on easy because I thought, look, I want to see the other stages. And even then, I found it so difficult. But I couldn't tell if it was because it was that hard or I found the controls quite, I don't know, quite stiff. And
I felt like I was doing the same thing and it
yeah,
was giving me different outcomes. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like I would
yeah.
sometimes throw like a Hadouken and then try to replicate it and it would not work.
Yeah, 100%. Had the exact same issue. I even went back to play Street Fighter, and that game is just so much more fluid, and you actually feel like you're in control, and the characters, the animation's better, they move a bit quicker. In comparison, what was it called? Not what's it called? Tough Enough? No,
Yeah, Tough Enough.
it's Tough Enough, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I found that just way too sluggish. But then at the same time, it is funny how I don't know how long after Street Fighter was made, Street Fighter 2, but there's so much borrowed from that game. Like even the color of the text and the font, and even the stages, like it's so trying to be Street Fighter 2, but it's just there's nowhere near as good. I didn't really enjoy it at all, to be honest.
And I mean, I would only reiterate what you guys have said, so I'm just gonna move ahead. I kind of agree with the gameplay and the difficulty. Apparently, there's 20 moves for each character, but I think what they mean is like left punch, right punch is like that's 2 different moves.
Yeah.
That's a reach.
I couldn't pull up the I usually try to pull up the original game guides, but I couldn't get archive to work, so I couldn't figure out if that's accurate or not. But quick fun fact about this game, and I think it's pretty well known for the fans of this game, is that apparently the American artwork, the cover art was so bad, or the marketing was so confusing that they changed it entirely, like complete 180 on the PAL and the Japanese other regions. So, like, if you've ever seen it, like, look it up. I put it in our doc. It's completely different. On the American version, the part that I don't like is that on the cover it says, "Hey, punk, are you tough enough?" And it's like, if you look at it, it's kind of confusing what the
The
title of the
title is.
game
I
is.
saw that. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, like if you didn't know, which let's face it, like this, there's not a lot of like. I'm sure this wasn't like a really popular game when it came out, or it wasn't Street Fighter, right?
Yeah.
So like, were kids being like, hey mom, can I get Hey Punk, are you tough enough?
Yeah. They for sure were.
so,
They for sure were.
so
It
so if
definitely
you look
resulted
at,
in a few Blockbuster rentals for sure, that cover.
yeah, I mean, I think the artwork is cool, and then the PAL region, it seems a lot more 90s and a lot more on brand, and the title is very clear. It's a very clear. You know what it is.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's very interesting that the marketing of a game cover could be so bad that they're like, we just got, like, to try and save it, we just have to just try and just throw it out and start over. So Kevin, where do you rank these games, and who would you recommend these games to?
So Tough Enough I ranked at that's the, for those of you at home trying to keep track, the fighting game, the Street Fighter clone. And I ranked that one the lowest of the two. I've now ranked 95 games here, and this is pretty close to the bottom. This one's at number 83.
Oh, damn.
I put it above Congo's Caper, and I put it right below Sega Genesis Comic Zone. I felt like I felt like I was about as good at this game as I am at Comic Zone, but I know Comic Zone is a more competent game. So I put it right below that. That was my thinking there, because Comic Zone, I've said before, is one of those games I've tried to get into and I'm just bad at it. No matter what I do, I'm bad at it. I just need to accept it, no matter how much I want to like that game. This game I'm bad at, and I don't even know if I want to like it. So so it goes below Comic Zone there. And then Rival Turf I had ranked number 63 on my list. That puts that right above Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. So it was, a passable, we'll keep using the word generic, beat 'em up. And I kind of enjoy beat 'em ups, so that gave it the edge over Mean Bean Machine. Nothing bad, but nothing special about it. So I honestly don't know who I'd recommend these to, though. They're not games I don't see myself recommending these games. I'll just say it one last time for good for good measure. Generic. So yeah, I don't think I would recommend them.
Yeah, I think I would feel the same way. So I put Rival Turf at 75 out of 84 for me, and I put Tough Enough right below that at 76. The reason is that I do think Rival Turf is less of just a straight ripoff than Tough Enough, so I would just put that a little bit higher. But if I'm putting this in the tiers, this is going in like just the bottom tier. It goes above games like Echo the Dolphin, small games like Game and Watch Galleries, Pro Wrestling, Quest for Camelot, Ignition Factor. I have to mention. So yeah. So Mike, which game are you putting above which game?
Oh, I'll put Rival Turf for sure above Tough Enough, 100%. I don't have a whole list, but if I scored them out of 10, I'd give Rival Turf like 5.5 and Tough Enough 1, maybe 2. No, I'll give it 1. Give it 1. No, I'll give it 2. A 2. 2 for what's it called? Tough Enough, and 5.5 for Rival Turf. That's why I'd score them.
All right, let's find out what we're going to be taking a look at next week. All right, so the randomizer has picked a classic. We're going to be talking about Kid Icarus, which is not a game I was into back in the day. This is a game I discovered on the Wii U Virtual Console. So a lot of thoughts about this one. We'll be talking Kid Icarus next week, one of Nintendo's most overlooked properties. So before we head out, why don't you tell the people one more time where they can find you, Mike? Tell them all about Attack the Backlog and such.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you can find me at Attack the Backlog on YouTube. You'll see me there daily with the daily Nintendo news, and you can catch me streaming on the weekend and hopefully soon be podcasting also on the weekend. So, yeah, Attack the Backlog on YouTube, and same on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Attack the Backlog also. Can I just say also, thanks so much, both of you, for having me on. I've had a blast talking Nintendo with you guys. It's been really, really fun. So thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. You're welcome back anytime, man.
Thank you.
It's so fun to talk Nintendo with other people who are as, deep into the woods as we are. So, yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. And as always, keep in mind, we're Nintendo fans, not Nintendo experts, so we probably did get some stuff wrong. If you'd like to email us, nintendotherapypod@gmail.com. We're on X at Nintendo Therapy. We're on Reddit at Nintendo, well, not at, but there's a Nintendo Therapy subreddit. And I've actually been uploading to our Nintendo Therapy TikTok a little bit more regularly lately. So maybe check us out on TikTok if that's something you're into. And with that, we'll see you all next week for some Kid Icarus action. See you then.